Hello, and thank you for signing up to be an Eat Well, Move More champion. Today we're going to go through some training about how you can be a champion, including understanding the benefits of the importance of being active and eating well, and what influence you can have on the people around you. Following today's training, we would like you to submit a leaflet or a poster of your own design back to us, and a winner will be chosen. There then will be a prize at the end of that. So, welcome. My name is Hayley Antipas. I am a Public Health Development Officer for Cheshire East Council, and I lead on all the work around improving access to physical activity and motivating people to move more and eat well. Today we are going to be talking about what we mean when we talk about being active, or what we mean by having a healthy weight, and why it is so important to stay healthy. We can look at the different types of champions and give you the opportunity to think about what different type of champion you would like to be. And then we can develop some skills and confidence about how to deliver some messages or start a conversation about supporting the people around you to eat well and move more. So to get started, we're just going to do a quick quiz. So using your left or right arm, put your hand up if you would prefer to exercise for 1 hour straight, or doing lots of different exercises during the day. Left for 1 hour straight and right for during the day. Next one. Would you prefer exercising inside or outside? Left for inside and right for outside. Would you prefer exercising with equipment or without? Left with, right without. Would you prefer exercising with music or without music? Left with, right without. Would you prefer exercising with somebody else, or would you prefer to exercise alone? Left with someone else and right alone. So, there were absolutely no right or wrong answers to that quiz, but I hope it did show you that there are so many different ways that we can be active and lead that healthy lifestyle and do it different to other people around us. So why be active and why be a healthy weight? There are so many different benefits, and I've just put some different examples on the slide here to improve mood and reduce your stress levels, to meet new people, improve your mental well-being, meet people around you, improve that community spirit, reduce the risk of health conditions, reduce resilience and the ability to solve problems and work as a team, and improve your confidence. And as I've mentioned, physical activity can mean so many things to different people. So here are some examples of what we mean when we say physical activity. And if there is something that you prefer to do that isn't on that slide, that's okay. So dancing, cycling, sporting activities, active play and informal activity, so what you would maybe do in the park, going on your scooter, going for a walk, different fitness activities. All these are examples of what we mean when we talk about physical activity. And there are some guidelines that come from the government about how much we should be doing. So for those aged 5 to 18, the advice is 60 minutes per day. Now that can sound like quite a lot, but if you break it down, do you walk to and from school? Do you take part in PE? Do you do any after school clubs? Do you go to the park after school? Do you like playing in the garden? All these things count. Anything that is not sitting still, maybe increasing your heart rate or making you feel a little bit out of breath, all counts. And there are different types of physical activity: light, moderate and vigorous. So light is a light stroll, a leisurely walk, something that you might do around a shop. Moderate is a brisk walk or cycling on a flat terrain, so a road for example, or water aerobics. So during these activities you should be a little bit out of breath but still able to maintain a little bit of a conversation. Maybe not sing, but you can still have a conversation. When you are doing vigorous exercise such as jogging and running, swimming and heavy gardening, you should be really out of breath and almost unable to say more than a few words, definitely not a full conversation. And here's some information about what kind of foods and drinks are included in the guidance. So starting with the big green one on the left, that's all our fruits and vegetables, and they provide all our nutrients, all our vitamins to build an immune system and look after our health. Over on the yellow side, we've got our carbohydrates, and they provide us with energy. If possible, it is advised to swap these for whole grain options, that will provide more fibre and are more natural and less processed. The pink side is our protein, and this can come from meats, fishes, beans, pulses. These help with recovery with your muscles, for example. And then next to that in the blue, we've got our dairy, so milk and yogurt and cheese. These help with keeping your bones strong. And then we do have a little slither of our natural unsaturated fats, which are often used in cooking, for example. And finally, in that left corner, we've got our treats, our biscuits, our ice cream, crisps and sauces. These should be eaten less often and in very small amounts. It's also really important to stay hydrated, so the advice is to have 6 to 8 glasses of water a day, and this can include any sugar-free drinks, including your hot drinks, as long as they don't have sugar in them. So there might be some things that stop you from talking about being active or eating well with someone, and that's okay, and we can talk about some things that you can do to feel that little bit more comfortable. Here are some of the barriers that you might face when having these conversations about being active or eating well. So the first one is gender. Now unfortunately there has been a culture where certain activities were more supported amongst different genders. So we're really trying to motivate anyone, no matter their gender, to get involved in any activity that interests them, that is good for them and they want to take part in. Family influence is another example. So if somebody has a family who has never been interested in physical activity or has never seen the importance of it, it is likely that that influence is passed down to the child. Same with friends. There might be some health concerns that people are worried about and therefore don't want to take part in physical activity, or maybe have to follow a certain diet that might stop them from following any guidelines that we put forward today, or make them nervous to make change, a fear of making their health worse. We've also got ethnicity and cost and time. So activities can sometimes cost different amounts of money. If you were to join a gym or join a class, sometimes that can come with a cost, and you've got to make the time for it. And then sometimes people feel a lack of confidence if they've got no one to go with, or they're starting something new, they're in a new environment. And finally, they just don't know what to do. We know that physical activity is good for us, something that we've covered today, but we just don't know where to start, and that's okay too. As a champion, you might feel a little bit more confident to tell people about what you've enjoyed doing, or whether you are aware of any classes or activities that you can help people to get involved in. There are different types of champions that you can be. An activity leader is someone who would deliver a physical activity session or a healthy eating session. An advocate is someone who uses the influence that they have on the people around them to tell people about the benefits of physical activity and eating well, and sharing that information and motivating people. And then you've got an activist, and these types of people normally want to create that wider change. You often see them trying to have conversations with people in government, for example, to create that different cultural change. Now, I invite you to have a think about what kind of champion you would like to be. Most people will feel more comfortable being that advocate, to talk to your friends and family, your teachers, around what they can do to support either them or the people around them to be more active and eat well. And some advice on when you are being a champion, to be your best self, to be your authentic self and value that difference. So thinking about what we did in that quiz at the very beginning, people experience physical activity completely differently. People's diet might look different based on what they enjoy or their culture and their background, and that's okay. You can still motivate people and signpost without it being something that you are necessarily interested in or like. Be positively connected to people and have a positive connection to a place or a space. To be that friendly person, and even if somebody isn't ready to have that conversation, to leave that door open and say, if you want to talk about it, I'm here. And you are being a big part of something bigger. So by motivating people or signposting to different activities or showing people what is available to them, you are creating that culture where people are active and eating well, and that would have such a big impact on so many different things around us, including people's mental well-being, on our NHS services, and so many other different things that we've talked about so far. So here's some advice about how you can have this conversation with someone around you. And we follow the 3A's framework. First one is ask. And this is about starting that conversation. Ask someone how they are, or whether they have enjoyed doing something active, or they've enjoyed eating a certain way before and they're no longer doing it. And then we can move on to assist based on what they say. So you might be aware that there are some local groups or something you found online that you could show them, and it's just about telling them what you know about. And then 3 is act. So this is your call to action. So maybe you can make some recommendations, you can maybe go with someone for a walk or to a class, you could support them to have a search and see what's going on around them, whatever it might be. But that is your call to action to help someone make that change. When having these conversations, I would support people to be aware of what language they use. So when we are talking about encouraging people to move more, we can use words like exercise and sport and physical activity. And these terms can be quite daunting and quite overwhelming for someone. You can be active without being sporty, for example. And our goal as an Eat Well, Move More champion is to support people to move more and reduce that time sitting still. I would also support people to avoid using the word just. Using the word just can downplay the change that person is trying to make. So for example, if you are supporting a person who maybe struggles to leave the house or does no physical activity at all and has expressed interest in starting to walk. Now if you were to say, well, why don't you just go for a walk around the block? While it's good advice to start small, using that word just makes it sound like it's an easy change to make, when it might be that that person might need a lot of support and motivation to have that walk around the block. I'd also encourage people to avoid making assumptions. So unfortunately there has been a culture whereby we have assumed that all males, for example, like football, and that's simply not the case. So don't be afraid to ask them questions of what that person does enjoy or has enjoyed in the past, or what they would be interested in learning more about going forward. So at this moment, I would invite you to have a think about other ways that you can change your language to be supportive of the people around you. And as I've mentioned, some people may not feel ready to have this conversation or make changes about how active they are or their diet and eating well. So it's okay to leave that door open and say to them, I'm here if you want to know more, or if you want to have this conversation in the future. So you might recognise this face. This is Bill Bailey, and he has partnered up with a campaign called We Are Undefeatable to do a video about supporting people to be active in their own home. So I'll play the video as a good example of someone who is being an advocate and a champion for physical activity.
Imagine a full body workout that works for your body and requires no fancy equipment, subscriptions, or any cost.
Not again, Mr. Wilson.
Introducing the Sit-On Fitness Apparatus, this year's #1 exercise machine. The complete home gym with movements almost everyone can do.
Including people with long-term health conditions.
You can even use it to put your feet up after. Shoes off, Bill.
Join me in keeping active with movements you can do from your sofa.
Here is another example of a campaign called This Girl Can. This website is full of stories and blogs of women and girls who have achieved their goals and been really inspiring in being active. So, having seen some examples of videos or websites and blogs, I would now invite you to have a think about what you can do to support people to be more active or to eat well. And this is where the competition comes in. So, based on what you've learned today, I would like you to create a leaflet or a poster and send it to us. You can either make it on your computer or laptop using a Word or PowerPoint, for example, and email it over, or you can hand draw something, take a picture of it, and pop that in an email to us. There will be 4 winners chosen based on who can advertise physical activity and moving more the best, who can support people to eat well the best, supporting those to travel more active, and those who can support more women and girls to be involved in physical activity. And the winner of each group will receive a family pass to Everybody Health and Leisure gyms. Here is an example of a poster that a young person has created. They have talked about some of the barriers that can be faced. We did a bit of an activity about some of these mental activities that also get you moving, so things like patting your head and rubbing your tummy at the same time. These coordination challenges, also a great way to get moving but also wake your brain up. And that sports can also help you improve your mood and reduce stress and all those other benefits that we've talked about. Here is another example about sport and moving about, how you can do it and enjoy yourself at the same time, the importance of moving around and healthy eating, the benefits on your mental well-being and feeling less stressed and happier, and the benefits of being social and talking to others. So that's the end of the training. I now invite you to make your own version of something like this and send it over to us, and I look forward to having a look through them and picking our winners. Good luck!